I've gone live again, and you may notice my voice sounds different. I'm using an actual microphone, which means I might pick up some background noise. I apologize for any of that. And you'll also notice right away that I've started cheating. I gave myself a ton of money, boosted most but not all of my stats, to make things flow a little more smoothly, so we can sort of just treat this like an interactive choose your own adventure novel, which is the thing that I like the most about this. So go ahead and, judge my cheating ways, but it feels nice to have a great ship, be fully equipped, and not have to worry about not finding enough money, enough echoes on the open Z to keep myself fueled and fed. I've also got a few little spares here and there in case people need supplies. But for the most part, I'm just going to be sailing around, filling out the stories of my next great novel. So someday, I may be able to write The Song of the Z. That requires quite a lot of crap. 77 memories of distant shores, Z stories, tales of terror, secrets. So it's very important that I not be spending this stuff. Which is why I think cheating is probably the only way to do this without boring myself to death. Hope you all enjoy as we go out into the house, yawn, stretch, and rise from our desk. I don't need to rest quite yet, nor do I need to sell my riches, my heirlooms in my mansion. So instead, I stand on the bridge with the dapper chap's locket in my hand. Keep it. It's a risk for both of you. Shorebound lovers grow lonely and Z-captains die young. Close your hand over the locket. The Z-air is cold, but the heat of your blood has warmed the metal of the locket. Keep it close. You have a sweetheart in London. We've already been to the Alarming Scholar and dropped off everything we could at the Admiralty's office, so it's time to set sail again. My last task from the Admiralty office is to retrieve a port from the Gaider's Mourn in the Corsair's Forest, which is somewhere to the north. It's time to start filling out my chart, set sail on the open Z, and hopefully not run out of fuel and food. I also had to take on quite a few new crew members, you can see. We'll see what waits us up north. Dust, echoes, even a sepia tint to the air. These are the waters around the tomb colonies. November 6th, 1888. Fed the crew. November 7th, 1888. A tiny breeze stirs your hair and dies. Discovered Purewall Point. Here the wilder airs mingle with the airs of the near reaches. Demuse Gate, named for a navigator lost above. How did his bones come below? That is a big something that I don't want to find. Ah! Maybe it won't see me. Maybe everything's fine. Gaider's Mourn should be somewhere around here. This must be the Void's approach. the air crackles with frosty radiations. To the north, the false stars fail in the darkness. Seem to have gone too far north. But I have discovered the Chapel of Lights. Might be worth a visit. Chapel of Lights. Do you hear music? Furtive faithful gather in the shadows between the many, many candles. A bell tolls in the chapel tower, cracked iron laughter. Beware, the aisle is full of voices. Gather intelligence. What occurs here between the darkness and the light? A smiling priest in a red cassock tends the chapel. The congregation are shy of light. They come and go in little ships, and it's strangely difficult to count them. Perhaps some of them are imaginary. Still, you note the name of a ship or two. You now have a port report for the Chapel of Lights. Attend a service at the chapel. The great bell tolls. The few and ragged faithful gather for St. Arthur's lesson. Bring your offerings. I have enough supplies, although do I have enough to spare is always a good question. Fortune favors the bold. Echoes in the chapel. Oh yes, the priest says, smiling. The drowned man hums tonight. His song like fish roe clouds the water. He waits for the congregation's assent. We will feel him in the harps of us, and if his tune is caught, it will be raised to the sky where the bright birds pass. Hear the congregation cry out like birds, and the cries rattle away into the rafters. And the air hangs sultry, and the gods no longer frown. At the end of the service you leave, your lips still wet and your stomach filled with secrets. You could grow rich on this diet, if you live. You now have one St. Arthur's lesson, memoirs, the lessons of the chapel. You now have one times menaces, unaccountably peckish. I have the cannibal taint. I've gained one secret, and lost 5 supplies. No shops here, though, so I'm stuck with what I've got. Well, I seem to have passed Gaider's Mourn, or maybe it's not here at all. Only time will tell. Doesn't seem to be anything for me here in the fog. November 8th, 1888. We enter Stormbones. St. Eligius sends his fire to dance in the air on deck. Very far away we see the great light of the Ragged Crow. The Ragged Crow is some distance to the northeast. He doesn't seem to want to fight, so I'll leave him be. Bonnie Reefs is some distance to the west. Ragged Crow was supposed to be marked, but it wasn't. Instead, I found the Salt Lions. A baked breeze rises, the improbable scent of stone out of some distant desert. You are close to the Salt Lions. Fed the crew. There is a vast sorrow in their empty eyes. 2 basalt beasts, cathedral-sized. They frown eternally at each other across the black waves. The north one carries an encampment. Creeping human figures eat away at its features like rot. Picking. There's a supply dock below. Visit the Unmakers. Muscular pick-wielders rest on camp stools watching you approach, passing hip flasks around. An unctuous overseer beckons you to sit. Fungal tisane and tea cakes. Oh, we get funding from the bazaar, it's true. But Station 4? I wouldn't call it Station 4. It's a little grandiose. The stones are stuffed with secrets, but most of them are used as garden statuary or occult ballast. Most of them. Some go down to places under the bazaar. Oh, that was a quote that I didn't realize. I thought it ended. Shoot. Most of them. Some go down to the places under the bazaar. More tea cakes. I've gained a fragment and lost terror. I could carry Sphinx Stone to London if I were in need of the money. But instead I'll compile a port report. Time, basalt, and dissolution. Notes for the Admiralty. Record the activities of the unmakers such as they are. Write of stone and silence. You now have a port report. Well, somehow I missed a place I wanted to find. Gaider's Mourn should be up somewhere around here. But that's one of the cooler things about this, is the maps are never quite the same. The major landmarks stay the same, but most things shift around slightly. You've defeated an Alcaeus-class vessel. The ship is yours. What will you do with her? Scuttle her. You now have a cache of curiosities. An oilskin packet. Something valuable to someone. Drowning pearls. The Fathom King spits these out, your bosun offers. Coughs them up like a cat does a hairball. He catches your skeptical glance. True as I'm here, Captain. There's a fancy word for it and all. Nacrobizor, or I'm a lover. Whatever encyclopedias the bosun has been drinking, these are drowning pearls, all right. They have the heft, the sheen, and the chill. You now have 5 times drowning pearls. I've actually never seen those before. You know, you think you know the Unterzeenian. You never do. Here the wilder airs mingle with the airs of the near reaches. The Muse Gate, named for a navigator lost above. You are being launched. Discovered the Kisigar Vortex. Ooh, I probably don't want to run straight into that. This must be the Void's approach. The air crackles with frosty radiations. To the north, the false stars fail in the darkness. Don't want what that's bringing. I think I have to start heading back to London, otherwise I'll run out of supplies. Full speed ahead, please. Don't mind the thumpings from above. Those are perfectly normal. Perfectly normal. Death of an angler. The shell is shattered. The glowing Illici lie silent. Butcher it for supplies and occasionally other oddities. You now have an unprepossessing mass. There is probably something horrible inside, but possibly there is not. It won't keep, but it looks tasty. Plaintive, but satisfying. 2 sailors complain that the meat sighs melodramatically when cutlery is applied to it. They are probably engaging in mischief, but your crew becomes nervous. Nervous, but satiated. I've gained terror, but lost hunger. We'll call it a draw. November 12th, 1888. Laughter from the foredeck. Ah, what do we have here? Demew Island. The Iron and Misery Company Funging Station. A fervid forest of fungus. I&M has a funger operation, felling giant Voyage shrooms for building materials, harvesting Kirili for its medicinal properties. It's a desperate little outpost of something like civilization. Up puffs the affable factor. Oh, hello, Captain. Thank God for visitors. We go quite mad out here otherwise. Quite mad. How can we be of assistance? Could use some supplies. Some of the island's fungus is good to eat. Some is poisonous, hallucinogenic, or mischievous. Good luck. Gained 2 terror, but 1 supplies. I was fortunate. Compile a port report. The Admiralty likes to keep an eye on Iron and Misery Company's activities. The business of spores. Of course, I&M's activities here don't seem that interesting. Nevertheless, record what you can. I already have quite a few volunteers, so despite this entreaty, or accept a volunteer, one of company's Bulligus has negotiated an early release from her contract. It's the sproutlings, she tells you, her face pleading. I keep picking them out of me porridge. And me hair. And me eyes. Take me away. I'm a good worker. Ah, sorry. No, can't do that though right now. Instead, I'm going to explore Demew Island. Close crowded thickets of Bulligus and Skirili. The Iron and Misery Company fells them daily, but they grow back almost as fast. Ah, the gully. The ambusher's favorite terrain feature. It looked like such a short and easy way, but now a sudden flood of black and white fur confronts you. A starving torrent of Ratus Faber corsairs. Their chief addresses you in a piping, unhuman voice. Easy there, me giants. We're in dire need here. Lend us help and we'll pay you for it. No need to fight. But you notice his rat hand is on the hilt of his rat cutlass. I do have a chancy opportunity, 56% chance, to refuse the trade. But I might lose crew. Or I could give them what they want. They're only rats, but they're a lot of rats. And they have what looks like a rattling gun. And they'll exchange drowning pearls for supplies to repair and restock. I can't afford to lose 3 supplies, though. Refuse the trade. Davids and Goliaths. Ratwork rifles roar, sailors stamp. The gully is filled with screeching and zalty oaths. At last you stand triumphant, and the rats are fled or dead. You draw a string of drowning pearls from the waistcoat of the rat captain. His eyes are already filming with death, but he hisses savagely, "To the 7 cats with ye!" Poor Tillman has been bitten almost to the bone. The wound is filthy. You clean it as best you can, but you won't last the week. You've gained 5 times drowning pearls, and lost 1 crew. You total 25. Seems I'm out of activities for today. Got enough supplies to make it back to London, maybe. I still haven't found Gaider's Mourn. Another day. the Phosgene Bleaks. Does not look like a fun time in there. Discovered Patrick's Lot. Stalagmites loom in the distance like the cranes of Wolfstack docks, but faster. Faster. The Corsair's Forest. Our lookouts are watchful. Ah, promising. I've discovered Gaider's Mourn. A successful journey after all. Far below, something moves. Corsair's Forest West. Step carefully. The Mourn is a stalagmite vast as a crag, and its foot has no safe harbors. The Corsair's citadel nestles halfway up. An intricate system of winches takes the strain, and your ship rises slowly from the sea. Her hull creaks in protest. Grizzled sailors groan and cling to stanchions. Higher, higher. Now the Unterzee shimmers like glass below. Children clambering in crevices cheer and wave alarmingly. The winch motor slows, and you hang in a cradle next to a red-bowed pirate cutter. First things first, overhear rumors of a pirate poet. Landlubbers fear pirates. Pirates fear the poet. Lies, nonsense, glimmers. Some say she's a clayman who freed herself with the power of the verse. Possible. Others insist she's the personal muse of the king with the 100 hearts. Unlikely. One claims she sails on a living ship made of the still screaming skulls of her victims. More sober voices mutter that no, it's just an Alcaeus-class vessel. Whatever the truths, few have fought her and survived to tell the tale. Only the bravest of captains risk the lonely parts of the sea where her flag is said to fly. Refuse to pay for the information. Ah, this only makes sense with this one. So I have two options. Pay the loitering docker for his strategic information. Admiralty sent you? Price has gone up. It's not safe here. You'll pay the difference, won't you? Or refuse to pay for the information. You're a rough coat, come on. This is me living and me life. I can afford a few echoes here and there. A grin. You're a generous soul. You'll have your reward the other side of the river one day. And here's a little reward for now. Good sailing to you. The report is barely legible. Perhaps that's part of the code. The Admiralty will know. You now have one-time strategic information. You've completed your commission. And I could either reduce my terror, which is at 15, or explore the Mourn. I'm up for a drink or two. An evening at the Errant Limpet. A drinking den by the dock cradles is a good place for your crew to find companionship and let off steam, but although Gaider's Mourn is a free port, the Corsairs prefer their own, and look askance at respectable Londoners. 72% chance of success. A rousing evening, nevertheless. Your crew teaches the Limpet a whole cycle of epically filthy sea shanties. At one point you could swear you hear your name inserted in one of the more complex verses, but you maintain a diplomatic silence. You've lost 5 times terror, and succeeded in a Veils challenge. Oh. Interesting. Oh, so I can keep doing that for a price. At 10, though, I think I will just, explore the Mourn. There's a surprising quantity of actual landscape on the Mourn. It's vertical, admittedly, but once you find the beast paths and urchin roads, you can traverse it as you would a rocky moor, with an additional throatful of lurching terror. A Contretemps with Corsairs. Fights on the Mourn have a staccato quality. A careless lunge will send you plummeting to your doom. So wait, and choose your moment carefully. I could fight or flee. I have a better chance at fighting. You're good at that. Blood on the stone. You smash a wiry villain to the ground, trip over an incoming blade, leap to a neighboring perch, and send its occupant down the long, long way to the waters below. Your shipmates dispatch another two with well-flung rocks. The others flee, leaving one corpse for you to loot. Well, it's the law of the Z. I got 30 echoes. And finally, I'd like to gather a report. It's a bit chancy, only a 57% chance of success. Gaider's Mourn swarms with pirates, smugglers, and captains of uncertain allegiance. You could learn a lot here, but you'll need to go carefully. A dislike of spies. You and one of your more villainous-looking sailors join a dice game. Villainous-looking, but you know for a fact that she tithes to charity and has a delightful singing voice. The topic turns promisingly to pillage and ambush, but your sailor is a little too forward with her questions. There is a scuffle and a stabbing. You escape. She does not. You've lost one crew and failed in the challenge. But you do have a port report. Let's see. I can buy enough supplies to make sure I'll get back. Shouldn't need much more than that, though. And the friendly face has some interesting things to buy. I can buy a concealed compartment for my ship, providing some small degree of protection against excisemen searching your ship for contraband. But I think I'm good. And away I go. For there's no place like London. Assuming I survive the voyage. The real reason I have the tireless mechanic is you'll notice how quickly my fuel disappears. It's a side effect of having a powerful engine. But with him on my team, I can eventually get an engine that has an extra 50% fuel efficiency, which is pretty great. There's a lightship far from home. Its clear, bright beam warms the way. Speak to the crew. They long for news of home. Tea beneath the light. In the bleaching glare of the lens, among the smells of oil and metal, you sip tea and chat. The Z's terror recedes. You now have 1x-Z story. And Gaider's Mourn sure was easy to get to. And the salt lions are a lot higher up than I'm used to. Home waters. Someone waits for me on the docks. A little gift. A very fine evening to you, Captain. My, what you might call, mentor is very fond of your adventurous sea captains. He would like to offer you what you might call dispensation, on account of he is so fond of Z captains. Behind the blind bruiser on the dock stands a dray piled high with fuel and supplies. Seems too good to be true. You refuse. A sorrowful farewell. I will not deny that I am a little saddened, but I think my patron will also share my sadness, but I understand that you knows your business and that a Z captain is a free spirit. And I will explain carefully to my patron that you mean no insult by the refusing of this kind gift. Zail safe. The Drake creaks off into the dockside crowd. You refuse the proposal. And visited London. Visiting the Admiralty's office. I tell them of Demure Island. You've been to Demure's Gate? Gaider's Mourn. You have something to tell us about the pirate fleets of the forest. Chapel of Lights. There's something about the Unterzee that breeds heresy and dissent. I rather think we might need to send the Bishop of Southwark out for a good bit of Christian shouting. The Salt Lions. The Bazaar has always taken an interest in that place. Strategic information. What's that? Indeed, I'll send you up directly to speak with the Admiral himself. The dark spectacled Admiral. You're ushered into his office off Mansion's Pyre, a cramped room with a vast desk. He surveys you across that desk. Ah, yes, the merchant captain of whom we hear such complicated things. The Admiral will purchase intelligence from you. I could pass on strategic information, although I'd rather hold off. Create vital intelligence. Ask if there's anything in particular he needs. Well, if I can be assured of your discretion. This port. Speak to our agent there and return. We'll see that you're rewarded. From the Chapel of Lights. It'll be a while till I get back there, I think. I'm gonna take a roundabout way to south. Explore some of the other factions around. But first, this seems like a good opportunity, upon returning to the Wolfstack docks, to take a quick break. Thanks for watching.